And here we go. Welcome, everyone. This is Season 3, Episode 2 of the Extra Medium Sports Podcast. I am Justin Jackson, sports editor of the Dominion Post.
And I am Michael Griffith of the Dominion Post as well, filling in once again today for Matt Amory.
On the docket today, we have a very special guest and former University High boys basketball standout, Caden Matheny, will be joining us here in just a little bit. Caden just recently wrapped up his college basketball career at Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia. Very happy to have him on the show today.
Yeah, big congratulations to him, and we will also be breaking down the ins and outs of the WVSSAC's new, quote-unquote new, transfer policy for high school athletes in the state of West Virginia. Policy became official last week, and it will be set in stone for the start of the 2026-27 school year.
Michael, I've got about a dozen questions set up for you about the transfer policies. Hopefully we'll be able to clear up some of the issues for our listeners out there. We will also discuss the ending of Ross Hodges' first season with the WVU men's basketball team. WVU finished the year 21-14 following its 89-82 overtime win against Oklahoma
Cha-ching.
in the college basketball crown tournament. That was on Sunday, of course. But before we get to all of that, Michael, let's tell the good people who sponsors our show.
Yeah, let's make our own money over here more than the W. The Extra Medium Sports Podcast is brought to you by the Hotel Morgan. Whether you are interested in hosting a sophisticated corporate retreat, a joyful baby shower, or a spectacular wedding reception, Hotel Morgan provides a backdrop steeped in nearly a century of Morgantown history. Reimagined with boutique comfort and 1920s era charm, we take pride in making every event a memorable and stylish experience.
And Michael, where can you find our little podcast?
If you're looking, you can always find a link to the Extra Medium Sports Podcast at www.dominionpost.com or find us on social media at Spotify and YouTube. There's also a link on our Facebook page.
Really?
There is.
Okay.
Thought I'd throw that out there. You know, a lot of people use Facebook out there.
A little curveball in there. Okay. We begin today, as Michael said, with the new transfer policies for high school athletes in the state of West Virginia. Going to try to make a long story short here.
Yeah.
There was already a policy in place that took a lot of heat from a lot of different circles from around the state. Is that pretty fair?
I think that's absolutely fair.
So basically what happened, West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey last week signed a bill that was passed through the state's legislature that sent the power back to the WVSSAC to once again make its own transfer policy.
Right.
The SSAC quickly responded with this new policy. I mean, basically, the governor put his signature on the bill, right? And then the SSAC, what was it, like an hour?
It might have already been like written down. You know, I'm sure the governor read a little bit about what he was signing. I would at least hope he did. You know. So.
Now, you and I have both read the policy the day that it came out. I'm sure many parents and students around the state did the same. The first issue I have with the policy is I literally had to read it like 4 or 5 times.
I remember
before it made any sense to me, and I'm still not sure it makes complete sense to me.
Yeah.
But let's kind of begin there, Mike. If you could just. The ins and outs, what are the new rules set in place for next year?
Yeah, so only 2 weeks after House Bill 4425 cleared the Senate, like Justin said, Governor Patrick Morrisey signed it into law on Tuesday, and kind of returning oversight, I guess you could say, would be the way to say it, to the sports, to the WVSSAC, like we said. I mean, that's kind of how it breaks down. You know, they're putting it back in the SSAC hands. The state government kind of stepped in last year after all the hubbub and all that, and they had the reclassification and all that good stuff. And, you know, then this year we had all the transfer stuff happening. You had people transferring in the middle of the year, you know, after sports seasons was going on. So, you know, this bill just kind of tackles all of that. You know, it kind of goes back to a little bit of the old policy. It's kind of got a little bit of a new thing thrown in there as well. So it's while it is new, you could say it is also kind of an old policy as well.
It's kind of a tweak on what the original
that's a good word
was,
for
right?
it. It just kind of tweaks a little bit of the old
so
policy.
So what are we looking at? What are the actual transfer rules? If you're a West Virginia high school athlete, what are the rules you have to follow in order to transfer to another school?
So let's just go through the past, right? So a few years ago, transfers weren't really a thing. If you wanted to transfer, you could go somewhere, but you would have to sit out a year, right? If Justin goes to Morgantown High School, for example, and wants to transfer to University High School, I
want to get the hell out of there, right?
You know, as a freshman, then his sophomore year, he would not be on the court for the basketball team. He wouldn't be on the field for the football team. He wouldn't be on the mat for the cheer team, whatever he was doing. But his junior year, he would be ready to go. Senior year, no problem. But then we adapted a new rule where we were going to try to be the NCAA, and we were going to let everybody go wherever they wanted. And kids were able to transfer no matter how old you were without eligibility being taken away from you. If Justin was at Morgantown his freshman year and he wanted to go to university and be immediately eligible his sophomore year, that was okay. Now
it became the Wild West.
It became the Wild West. And then, like I said, literally this year, and we're still in this academic year, the academic year that we are currently in, players from all over the state, it wasn't just one place or one school, were leaving in the middle of the school year. For example, someone would play soccer, and then as soon as they would play it at one school in the fall, and as soon as that soccer season was over at school A, they were transferring to school B to play basketball. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
And that was happening, and we saw that at a few schools, and even a local school around our area as well. And this policy kind of negates that now. You're not going to be able to transfer in the middle of the year, because one thing that this policy says is that all transfers have to be done by September 1st.
Okay, so this is that's the first
check mark, I guess.
First
you could
check mark of the new rule. Okay.
Yeah. So at or before September 1st, your transfer not only has to be put in from you, but it has to be completed and
now
and
September
signed
1st. Now, actually, high schools basically open
September 1st is right around like the first week of football usually, right? It's like last year it was the August 28th game we had. That last weekend of August was the
fall
first
semester, though, begins like late August, though, right?
Yes, they start school around mid-August.
So essentially they would have 2 weeks after the doors.
Right. And you're practicing, of course, over the summer.
Right.
You got the flex days and all that. So but with the new policy as well, and this isn't even a new thing, this kind of ties into what we were talking about with the classic policies. And this comes from an AD that actually Justin was on the phone with the other day saying, if you practice with a team, right, if Justin goes out and he wants to play football for university and, he's a freshman, but he hasn't even been to school yet, he's out there practicing with the team still, and he goes and completes his practice, they do the whole thing, they go home, and there's your day one, right? But Justin decides, maybe I don't want to go back. Maybe I want to go play for another team.
And it would still be before September 1st.
You still would not be able to do that, though, because you completed one of those practices. So there's a lot of rules to it. And like I said, some new, some old. Those are 2 check marks we just talked about as far as the date. And then, as far as participation, if you do decide to participate
so
at all.
Athletes have to decide to transfer by September 1st. Now, there are grade, right there.
Yes, that's exactly what we need to get into
next. Some of the grades
next.
get into this.
Which is one other new tweak when you talk about the rule is if you do want to transfer, there are ways to transfer without losing your eligibility. We did say before September 1st, but you can only do that without losing your eligibility if you are in the 9th grade as a freshman or the 10th grade as a sophomore.
Okay, so by September 1st, and then by your freshman or sophomore year, you got to make the decision.
Yes,
okay.
Or if you are a junior or a senior, it wouldn't really matter because you wouldn't be returning the next year regardless because you're going to graduate. But if you are a junior and you decide that you want to transfer before September 1st, I want to play football for someone else, and I have not participated in a practice, I'm still eligible. You are going to have to either sign up for a waiver or like appeal for a waiver,
right?
That kind of, which were also a thing things in the past, which aren't new. Or you'd have to sit out that next year.
Okay,
not the next year. Correction.
So if
your junior year,
if you are going to transfer, you have to basically to stay within the rules. You have to do it by your freshman year or your sophomore year.
So it's hard to really understand. Not hard to understand, but it's hard to really think like the big motive behind that rule as far as like transferring for the younger kids and not transferring for the older kids.
Right.
I guess it's keeping the more experienced athletes at your school at that point, you know what I mean? Having that seniority example of what I don't know.
There's also a sense of they just want to get it over with early,
sooner, in
an athlete's career. And they don't
like get the decision out or don't. You know, like
either do it or don't.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I think to some degree, I kind of like that.
Yeah, I do too because I'm not going to say I was like rooting for the transfer portal like in the past, or that I was a huge fan of it, but I really didn't mind it as much as other people. Like it really wasn't a huge talking point for me. of course, the transfers during the school year are something
Sure,
I can't get behind. Playing one sport and then going immediately to another school the next. I can't really get behind that. But I wasn't really a big negative, whatever, if you want to say, outspokenly against the transfer policy, because I thought it made it kind of interesting. Kids going to these different schools and playing with some of their friends that they've known in their area. These MHS and UHS kids grow up playing every sport together, and they're best friends, and they all post on TikTok together and post Instagram pictures together on spring. But when they go out on the field, obviously they're rivals. But I thought it was kind of interesting to see the transfer stuff happen. But
something, and there's another aspect with the transfer back part of the
correct,
and I want to get into that in just a second. But essentially now, I mean, here when it comes to transfers and making someone sit out a year and this and that and the other.
Yeah.
The one thing that I think people overlook, because people will say, well, I've only got my freshman year or sophomore year to make the decision.
Right.
But what if something happens and I want to transfer out as a junior? These rules, and I want to make sure this is very, very clear, these rules do not keep you from transferring out from one school to another as a high school junior.
Correct.
It just keeps you from playing sports at your new school for a year.
It just makes you think a little harder.
Right. It makes you think a little harder.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, nowhere in the rules does it say you can't transfer as a high school junior or even going into your high school senior year. You can transfer to a new school. You just wouldn't be eligible to play sports for 365 days. Some people have issues with that. I understand that, but the rules aren't keeping you from living your life at a new school or whatever kind of excuse or whatever you want to bring up. It's not keeping you at a school that you may not be happy with, providing that you didn't transfer like your freshman or sophomore year. Right. You can still transfer. You just can't play athletics for a year. And
honestly, we might see – I'm not saying it's going to be as chaotic as if everybody could transfer, but, one of the big talking points about the girls' basketball in the state this year was how young all the players were. There's still a lot of opportunity to have transfer. I don't want to say madness or craziness or chaos, but there's still opportunity to see a lot of talented athletes in multiple sports go to different schools to make an impact. Parkersburg South started 3 freshmen this year, and Parkersburg had a whole team of seniors. I'm not advocating for anything, but if you're Parkersburg, you're like, do I call one of those girls on the phone? Or
right.
It's just that kind of thing. It's still going to be a thing. It's like you said, it's not taken away from them. It's not. They're not telling them they can't. It's just that they're telling them that if you want to do it, this is how it has to be. And if it's not going to be this way, then it's not going to be any way for you. So.
All right, the transfer back policy, very interesting.
Yeah.
And we'll set it up like this. I'm a freshman at University High, and I decide to transfer to Bridgeport my freshman year or my sophomore year. I get to Bridgeport. I'm there for a year. And I'm like, this isn't, the grass isn't exactly
like the 45-minute drive down here.
Yeah, the grass isn't exactly greener on the other side like I thought it was.
Yeah.
So I'm going to transfer back. There are rules in place for that. If you could go over that real quick.
Yeah, and actually we've seen this in our area actually prior to the transfer portal even being a thing. So Morgantown High had a basketball player named Garrison Kisner who lived in the district of Morgantown High School. So which means his house is in that invisible boundary to this is where you have to go to high school after middle school. And for his freshman year, he did attend Morgantown High School and played basketball for Morgantown High School. His sophomore year, he said, you know what? I want to transfer and go play somewhere else. He transferred to university, but he had to sit out that sophomore year. However, he's played his junior year for university and then decided maybe I do want to go back home, go play for Morgantown High, go try to chase a state championship. But the rules stated that you cannot transfer twice. You may transfer once and sit out and play, but you cannot transfer twice, even if you sit out a year. Mathematically, that wouldn't even work. So, but since Garrison, from when he went to Morgantown to university, he didn't move. His address didn't change, anything like that. He did what he had to do for his junior year to play. But since he was still in the Morgantown quote-unquote district, that was his home school, back in the day, he was able to play his senior year with Morgantown because of that rule and because of that stipulation.
And that's essentially what the transfer back rule is now.
So if you went to Bridgeport after being at UHS, but your parents remained in the same address, you didn't move to Bridgeport, you would be 100% able to go back to university like you never left.
Right. But but the transfer back rule is you have to transfer back
to the same school.
To the school where your district is.
Correct.
Where your home residence is.
You can't go to university and then go to Bridgeport and then
then go to Robert C. Byrd and then go to Fairmont Senior.
You can't just come back to Morgantown because it's in the county. You know what I mean? Or Clay Battelle because it's in the county as university. That's not how it works either. It's not even a county thing. It's really like a address thing, a district thing or attendance zone, if you will. That's the way that the SSAC confusingly put it in the email or whatever it was. So, but you got it exactly right.
All right, so we've got the transfer. We've got the transfer back. Now I got some weird questions for you.
Okay.
So the transfer rule, as it will stand next year, is your 9th grade year and 10th grade year.
Yes.
So let's say I get into my 9th grade year and I want to transfer that first year. I don't want to go to school A because I just don't like school A. So I go to school B for my freshman year. So now it's my sophomore year, which is still within that 9th, 10th grade range.
Correct.
I find out that, hey, that 1 year I spent at school B wasn't what it was all cut up to be. Can I transfer again to school C?
No.
Because it's still within the 9th, 10th grade year.
No, at that point you get one transfer.
Right.
It's like a banked transfer almost.
You get like one shot at
every
it.
freshman and sophomore in the entire state of West Virginia has this in their pocket if they want to use it. If that's the slang way to put it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
So it's not like you have an unlimited amount of tokens to work with at the arcade or whatever. Right. Like you get one shot on the pinball machine or on the whatever game it is, and if it doesn't hit, then you're done. So that's. But now I would be curious. Then we talk about transfer back. So, but that's not school C.
Right. So that wouldn't be school C. Right.
So you're right. School C at this point would be a year off. So if you would be sitting out your junior year at that point, and then school C would be on your docket in your senior year. So if you were a sophomore, right?
So technically, you could go to a school C.
Yeah, but you would have
to sit out.
Right. You get your eligibility would be taken if you were transferring twice, even as a sophomore. So
that's not. I like that.
Like I said, it's a tweak. It's not completely like you were saying at the beginning. It's not a wipe of the rule. Mm-hmm. It's just a tweak. It's just an adaptation, or if you will, of old rules and new rules kind of coming together to make a new policy or whatever. I agree with you. I think it's going to work out, and I think it's kind of one of those things to me where in 3 years we'll even be talking about it anymore. You know what I mean? Like, is it going to be that big of a deal in a couple of years? They're like, we'll see. Like, I don't think it will. But.
Well, you'll be talking about it because it'll probably change again.
Yeah.
How many times?
It's been yearly at this point, right?
I mean, how many times has this policy changed over the years? Yeah. Right. It started off as no transfer rule, and then you get a one-time transfer rule, and then it became the Wild Wild West, and now it's trying to get wrote back in. Well, that's 4 changes within the last
since COVID.
Well, yeah, I mean, so the other here's the devil's. I like to kind of throw curveballs in there. Here's the other the way around it, right?
Okay.
If my family, say if I'm at school A, and I want to go to school B or school C, and my family physically moves to a new school district.
Okay.
That does not count as a transfer. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Isn't that the way around all of this?
Yeah, it's a kind of a complicated way around.
I mean, you could literally go to 4 schools in 4 years.
You're right.
You make some moving companies very happy. But that would be the way around it, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. And if you want to deal with the real estate market in today's world too.
Sure. Well, that's the other issue, right?
But no, absolutely. And I think, like I said, we've had some players, some athletes in the state do that this year already, and that's exactly how they got around it. Was they played a fall sport, and then they were playing at school A, and then they were playing a winter sport at school B. And the way that you do that is change that address up.
Well, back in the day, and I'm talking back even in my day, so we're talking a few decades ago in high school. But anyway, that was the way. I mean, there was no transfers at all back at that time. You had to physically move. Now, ways people got around it was they would go get an apartment. Like they would still live. The residents would still be in school district A. But you go get an apartment in school district B, and you live with your mom or your dad or in the apartment for that school year, and that was how you were could quote unquote transfer
eligible
to another school. I'm told this is sort of different now. In order to, like, if we what we were just talking about, moving from one school district to another, I'm told by a source that it has to physically be a move. That buying the apartment or renting the apartment kind of thing no longer works.
Yeah.
And to me, that's interesting. How do you follow that up? How do you actually check on that? I'm told from the source that there are actually people in place now. It wasn't always like this, but people are in place now within the school board districts or school board of educations whose job it is to physically check situations like that, where they check your old residents, they check your new residents. Did you physically move? Did you move the furniture? Did you move the clocks and the couches and the refrigerator? You have to physically move to a new residence. You can no longer own a residence in the old district.
Yeah.
And there are people in place to check that now, I'm told.
Yeah, and there are absolutely people that have done that, like we talked about. And we're not naming any names or any programs, but I know a high school team, a football team a couple years ago that had a player move into their district from out of town. It was actually out of county, and they
got the apartment.
They put his mom and himself up in an apartment in their district themselves, but probably wasn't allowed to do, and that's why we're not saying any names. But yeah, I know that happened for a fact. So you're right, man. There are ways to.
You could throw the name out there.
No, I think I'll maybe. Okay. Yeah, we'll leave that for another.
Let's throw some
another
people
podcast.
under the bus. Let's throw some people under the bus today, right?
Wait for some good mail, but we'll probably get some good mailbag questions from that little nugget right there. But yeah, no. But you're exactly right. There are ways that we see people getting around it, but like I said, that's a really complicated way to do it. I mean, moving your whole family, and these kids got siblings and little sisters and little brothers and dogs, and but yeah, I mean,
the dogs got to move too.
Dogs got to go, man. You can't leave them behind. You need everything. Trophies, everything, whatever you got. It's crazy to think about doing that. I hate moving. Do you hate moving?
Oh, I've done it, especially in the summertime.
Gosh.
All right. So bottom line, the so-called new transfer policy begins for the 2026-27 school year. So it means currently we are, we're in a school year still that is under the old policy.
Yeah, we have about 90 days.
Okay.
Till the policy takes over.
So give me the bottom line differences between what's about to take over and what is currently in place.
The easiest way to tell you how it's going to change is for the next 90 days, kids could still pretty much go do what they want.
Okay.
Like, if you're a kid out there and you want to transfer, you pretty much got 90 days, and you're not a freshman or a sophomore, you pretty much have 90 days to get that done, or you're not going to be able to leave whatever school you're at right now. If you are a freshman or sophomore, you have 90 days to get that done without a few things thrown in there as far as September 1st, as far as not practicing. Well, sorry, you can't practice still right now, but as far as all those other things. So that's basically how to put it in a nutshell. Is for the next 90 days, it's still the Wild West. After that 90 days is up, then we got all those rules that we just talked about coming up.
Do you like the new policy?
I do, and like I said, I was okay with the old policy as far as the transfers being allowed, but I am okay with the new policy. I think it's a little odd. I'm curious to see how the the student athletes react to it.
Okay.
As far as, you know, it's it's hard when you tell a kid that another kid can do something and they can't.
Sure.
You know.
That's interesting. That's an interesting way to think.
When you tell one teenager that, hey, this, especially when they're a younger kid, you know, when you tell a senior in high school that a freshman in high school is able to do this, that you're not allowed, that senior's going to be like, oh, that kid's allowed to do that, but I can't. So I'm kind of curious
what
about.
What kind of voice was that?
That was my angry high school senior voice. You know, you're gonna have to pay extra. Get on the extra.
But you know, I never
the B-roll.
That's interesting.
No, but yeah,
that's interesting. You bring that. I never once thought of it.
Well, please, someone think of the children.
Terms.
No,
yeah.
I'm kidding. But yeah, but honestly, I think about that a lot. It's like, what do the kids think about this? You know, and you know, what do especially the seniors that have put in the time? You know, they've been in high school for 3 years. They've done this. You know, they probably feel like they deserve to have that opportunity to go do something, but they can't now. But then that freshman or sophomore that didn't even play a minute, you know, that didn't contribute to I'm not saying all freshmen and sophomores don't contribute, because we just talked about teams that do. But I'm saying, you know, this senior's going to look at that freshman.
They have the options.
Absolutely. And they're like, they can, you know, they didn't play a minute, but they can go wherever they want, you know. So I'm curious to see how that happens. You know, it's not like the kids can really do much about it as far as changing the rule, but I am curious to see how their reaction is to it. So, but I like it. I'm fine with it. I don't think it needs to be. I think where it is right now, we can enter into the next year and test it out and see what happens. It's not like we haven't been doing that for.
You want to do the voice again?
I don't even remember how I did it, to be honest.
Okay.
You get off my. I don't know.
Kind of like a Roscoe P. Coulter. All right, yeah, all right. I like to throw it out there that if there are any further questions or comments the listeners may have, you can tweet me here at BigJax3211, or you can email me at jjackson@dominionpost.com. You know, last week we talked about kind of opening up tweets and questions, comments from the listeners, mailbag things.
Absolutely.
I didn't. Excuse me. I didn't really get anything this week. I did get one tweet. Someone tweeted into me and said, "Hey, we need to get Matt back so we can do more Rick Trickett impersonations." so that's our mailbag for this week.
And Trickett's back in the coaching room now at WVU, so that might be a perfect time for that too.
So yeah, Matt is pretty good on the Rick Trickett impersonation. We hope to have Matt back next week.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, before we get on to our special guest, Michael, let's throw in another plug for our sponsor.
Yeah, we'll do. So the Extra Medium Sports Podcast is brought to you once again by The Hotel Morgan. Host your guests in an elegant setting utilizing our refined meeting spaces, including 2 dedicated boardrooms and state-of-the-art conference technology. You can also elevate your event with delicious catering and craft cocktail service delivered by our on-site cafe and bar, Anvil and Axe.
Okay, we are now honored here to have with us today former University High boys basketball standout Caden Matheny, the 2020 Bill Evans Award winner for the State's Player of the Year. Caden just officially wrapped up his college career at Liberty University. Caden, thank you for joining us, and how you doing today?
Oh, pretty good. Thank you for having me.
Caden, you just had a remarkable career at Liberty University. You began at Bowling Green. It was quite a journey for you. Can you just kind of begin there, and what was this journey like through college for you?
Yeah, wow, it's been a long one, that's for sure. Went to Bowling Green out of COVID, and during the COVID year, it was a tough year, I'm sure, for many people. And the college basketball didn't seem like it was real at that point. And thankfully, the NCAA didn't count that against my eligibility, so moved on and played 2 more years at Bowling Green. My second year, I took a medical red shirt, banged up my ankle pretty good a couple games into the season. So then actually only one of the years at Bowling Green counted against my eligibility.
Wow.
So thankfully I was able to go to Liberty University and completely just change my college career around. And it was just one of the best decisions of my life was to go to Liberty, and ended up having a great career there, and met some phenomenal people, had some of the best teammates of my life there. So forever grateful for Liberty.
All right, cool. So, Caden, my question really first to you is just kind of when you were looking at Liberty and you were leaving Bowling Green after that year, it was when the transfer portal was really kind of picking up and really starting to become what it was, and it was kind of the early days of it. And so you really didn't have a big example to look up to, or really a lot of that to go off of. So what was it like for you in your transfer experience as far as trying to find a new school and a new home?
Yeah, I mean, that was when transfer portals kind of first started, honestly, when you were first able to transfer and not have to sit out a year. And my coach ended up getting fired at Bowling Green, so that submitted my decision in trying to find a different school for me. And thankfully, I'd already had a previous relationship with Liberty and Coach McKay out of high school. They recruited me a little bit, but ended up going a different direction. But I had that pre-established relationship with them, and I knew how the program was run and how good of a coach Coach McKay was. So as soon as they showed interest, I kind of was like, you know what, that's going to be one that's going to be tough to turn down. So the transfer portal was crazy. I went to bed and woke up with thousands of text messages and missed calls and was like, holy cow, what's going on?
I'm just trying to sleep around here.
And I was right, and I wasn't one that enjoyed too much of the recruiting process in high school. So I was like, you know what, I don't want to do this again. So I went on a visit pretty quickly. And made my decision pretty quickly, and thankfully I did. It definitely worked out.
You went to Liberty, and you started almost every single game there in 3 years. 32 out of 32 your first year there, 34 out of 34 the second year, and it would have been 33 out of 33 this year, obviously, if it wasn't for your little injury at the end of the year. But man, I'm sure that 3 years at Liberty probably felt like 6 as far as your whole college career. But what was it about that? Just about that school, not the school really, we'll get into that, but really the basketball about that school that allowed you to come in off rip and just start every game and just make that impact for them. I think you shot 40% from three that first year for them too. So what was it about that basketball there that just allowed you to gel so much with the program?
Yeah, I mean, more so it was just the guys that they had in the program already. Once I got there, they accepted me immediately and allowed me to be the player that I wanted to be and the player that I knew I could be, because I knew my first couple of years at Bowling Green wasn't how I wanted to play, and I didn't play up to the standard that I knew I could. Yeah. So those guys accepted me immediately, and just the way Coach McKay runs the program and just the actions we run on offense and the way we play, it really it fit how I wanted to play. And they just kept putting me in the position to be able to succeed, and we had tremendous success in doing that.
We are on the line with former University High and Liberty University standout Cade Matheny. Cade, I got your final numbers here in college: 1,942 points, 409 assists, 483 rebounds, 410 three-pointers. Which one of those numbers are you most proud of?
Well, I have a running joke. I did do all that in 5 years. So hopefully NCAA allows the fifth year to be a thing, so I don't have a season ahead of these guys on the leaderboards. But honestly, just the amount of games that I was able to play. I don't care about the numbers. I was just first couple of years I was battling with injuries at Bowling Green, so being able to end up playing that amount of games was just a blessing, and I didn't know if I was going to come back and play another year, and it was thankfully the best decision I could have made playing this extra year. And those numbers are crazy. Probably the 3-point ones. I kind of always have a goal to hit some 3-point records. That's always been the name of my game. So definitely being able to make that many threes is that definitely probably hits the most.
In your final year at Liberty, was it a calf injury that hit you late in the year, or?
Yeah. So I was dealing with a calf injury the latter part of the year and was able to manage to get through it. But then a couple practices before our first conference game, it got worse on me, and it was tough. I was not healthy in the conference tournament game, which sucked. Obviously, I feel like if I was 100%, we definitely wouldn't have gone out that way. And I made it a lot worse with during the conference game. So then when we went to the NIT, I decided, you know what, I'm going to sit out the first round and see if we can make it to the second round and then maybe give it a try. But I was nowhere near 100% going into that second round game, and decided that's why I came off the bench just to plug and play whenever needed, because the first round game our guards played 40 minutes. So I was like, hey, whatever's needed, if that you need me to go in for a couple minutes just to spare them some minutes, that's what I'll do. But yeah, dealt with a calf injury at the end of the year.
Yeah, I know what's probably the most disappointing part of that is that Liberty, I mean, you guys were the number 1 seed going into the Conference USA tournament, right?
Yeah, we were. We had won 17 straight games. Won our first 15 in conference, I think, something like that, and clinched first place with like 3 games to go, which was incredible. But we were going in there confident, but just sucked that that health wasn't fully there. But that doesn't take away I mean, we were regular season champs, which is probably harder to do than winning the conference. And thankfully, we had won it the previous year, so I got to experience the NCAA tournament at least one time.
So, Caden, like you were saying, you guys at Liberty went to the NCAA tournament last year. You guys played Oregon in the first round. Was that in Portland or in Seattle?
That was in Seattle.
In Seattle. So you played in the NCAA. You played in the NIT a couple times. I mean, how many of the postseason tournaments did you guys hit during your career?
Yeah, so went to NCAA tournament last year, NIT this year, and then my first year was at Bowling Green. We played in the CBI.
Okay, you guys never hit the CIT?
No, never. No. Never did that. Never got the crown. Never got some more money doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. We were talking about your stats earlier, and speaking about the crown with West Virginia. Obviously, just won it there a few days ago. I love looking at stats, and I was looking at your stats, and I was comparing them to Honor Huff's at West Virginia. He finished with 2 more threes than you did. So it was like 412 to 410. You guys are right there next to each other. I'm wondering, did you guys, Honor kind of transferred and moved around to different schools? Did you ever get a chance to play against him, or see him on TV or anything like that?
Yeah, I never got to. I don't think I played against him. Who knows? I know these. Right. I mean, I played so many. Maybe, but I don't. Not that I'm aware of. But yeah. I didn't watch too many West Virginia games this year, but I watched the Crown one because obviously my season had been over. And, yeah, it's pretty cool watching him out there, just a smaller guard. You always love, as a smaller guard myself, you always love seeing guys like that succeed. And, he can shoot that thing, that's for sure. I think my dad had mentioned that he was close to me in the three-point. And we were watching the game together, and he went off that game.
Yeah, he had like 8 of them.
Yeah, he was like, I think he got you, kid. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, he got you by 2. In the end, that one in overtime put him over, I think.
You played at Bowling Green before I'd even started working at the newspaper. I've been here for 5 years now, and obviously I was just a big basketball fan, big sports fan, and growing up in college, I knew that you were at UHS. I used to come watch a few games back in the day, but I remember watching your very first, it's kind of crazy, and I know you'll remember this. I watched your very first college game at Bowling Green. You guys played Michigan. And this was before Michigan really became Michigan. Obviously, they just won a national championship last night, which is crazy to think. But I remember watching you play that game, and you guys played a decent game. You guys lost by double digits, but you scored like 80-some points in that game as a team. But you were you came out there in the first game, and you scored a couple buckets. You were playing hard, and I just remember watching and being like, this kid's gonna do something. Obviously, you had done what you done in high school and stuff. But if you could go back and tell Caden Matheny one thing or a couple things, if you had to choose, before that first game, you walk out on that court against Michigan, against a Big Ten Power 14, like, what are you telling yourself before that?
Yeah, it's a great question. What's funny, that team, they ended up making it to the Elite Eight. And what's crazy is that was obviously during COVID. So, but I'm still my high school self, not thinking of anything out there. And
right.
I remember my first bucket was a and one left-handed layup, and I screamed and one, and I look around, I'm like, oh crap, like there's no one here, and just my little basically still high school voice, Caden, just screaming in that huge arena. I'll never forget that because of COVID and no one being there.
Yeah.
But one thing I'd say is probably just like you're good enough. Like you're good enough, and keep the confidence, because sometimes going through those days, you start to question whether you're good enough to be at this level, and like I just kept proving myself that I am good enough. So that's probably one thing I'd tell myself.
Yeah.
Caden, final question for you. You know, I've got my sources around town. I've sort of been told to maybe kind of keep an eye out that Caden Matheny might be moving back here to Morgantown and maybe starting a coaching career. Okay. Is that in the works for you?
Your friend might be Schmidl, huh?
Sources, Caden.
That's funny.
I can't divulge my sources.
The Associated Press, if you will.
Yeah, he called me a couple of days ago. He's like, I got a couple things for you. But I waited a couple of days after the season ended. So, and I was like, well, Tommen waited one day after the season ended.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Yeah, we'll see. Obviously, probably packing the shoes up. I do have a bunch of professional opportunities, but
yeah, I was curious about that too. But your brother's there too, right? Your brother's at UHS right now.
Yeah, my brother's at UHS.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Probably, I'm married. I have my wife, and she doesn't necessarily want to travel overseas, and neither do I. So looking like I'm just gonna pack up the shoes. It's been a long ride, long journey. But if I'm back in Morgantown, who knows what I'll be doing? I got to get permission from my little brother first. If UHS was an incredible experience for me. Obviously, my last year there, it still haunts me to this day with COVID canceling the state tournament. We would have been most likely back-to-back state champs. So if I can help in whatever capacity to try and get them back to the mountaintop, like I've obviously seen Sharon and Morgantown have much success once I've left. So hopefully, if I'm around, I'll do whatever it takes to help UHS get back to where it was when I was there.
Real quick, have you kept up with? I mean, I know you're obviously busy during the basketball season, but have you kept up with high school basketball in West Virginia at all? This year, man, it was like Quad A. I mean, it's Quad A now. It was Triple A when you were in school, but Quad A was like one of the deepest fields it has had in years. Have you kept up with high school basketball in West Virginia at all?
Here and there. I did a couple years after I was done playing, and then went a little bit without seeing much. But once my brother's now at UHS, I've definitely kept up a little bit more. And we Liberty has Eli Sankum coming next year.
Yeah.
So I was keeping up on him. And
you guys talk at all?
We actually recruited. Yeah, for sure. Here and there, I hosted his visit here, and
cool.
Put in the good word for Liberty. But he didn't need too much selling points. He was pretty stuck on coming here.
He's an incredible player.
He's an incredible player.
Oh
yeah, he is. We're excited for him. And then Noah Lewis came on a visit here.
Cool.
A year ago. So I know he ended up. I think he's going to Wright State. So, but. Yep. Once he came on the visit, I kept up with a little bit of him. So
cool.
Yeah, I was seeing a little bit stuff this year.
Yeah, well, they were co-players of the year this year, which is actually pretty cool. You had both both players of the year this year and hosting big on campus. There
I saw that.
That's awesome.
I saw that.
Hey, Caden, we want to thank you for the time, and thank you so much for joining us today, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me.
Thanks, brother.
Okay, to close things out, Season 1 is now officially in the books for Ross Hodge at WVU. The good news is there will be a Season 2 for Hodge. And the Mountaineers and WVU Athletic Director Ren Baker won't be searching for a fourth consecutive coach for a fourth consecutive year. So no coaching search. Ross Hodge will be here for year 2. WVU finished 21-14, its first 20-win season since 2020.
Yeah, wow.
West Virginia won the crown by beating Oklahoma in overtime. Michael, gut reaction now that it's all in the books. Did Ross Hodge's first season at WVU meet expectations?
Oh, I think so. You're only a handful of teams that ended the season on a W, so that's pretty good, right? Only a couple teams can go home happy at the end of the year, but yeah, absolutely. I think that this leaves a good taste in the mouth of the fan base, and probably in the mouth of the players and the coaches as well, too. You know, I mean, you guys just had an okay season, and then you rallied behind each other. For really the past month. I mean, it's been 2 weeks since these guys even took the court together, right?
Yeah, almost 3.
And then you came out and looked like you were in midseason form for three games, and went out and beat some good teams. So yeah, I think Hodge did what he needed to do in year one, and you got the recruiting class coming in next year, and hey, Miles Sadler is out there helping Ross Hodge already for next year, because he's getting everybody excited with the way that he's playing in high school right now, leading his team to the national championship over the weekend.
Yeah, they were just down in Florida, right in the Chipotle, I think is what it's called.
So it's not only Miles Sadler, he's got a couple teammates, one that's coming to West Virginia with him, and another one that's looking at coming to West Virginia. So I think the fan base is excited. The offseason is looking up as far as the WVU basketball team.
So you are excited for year 2? Under Hodge.
Get year 2 of some Hodge ball going. Here we go.
Okay. Hey, that is all the time we have for today. We thank you for listening in. We also want to thank former University High and Liberty University standout Cade Matheny for joining us earlier. Again, if you would like to leave a question or comment for the show, you can tweet me at BigJax3211 or email me at jjackson@dominionpost.com. We will be back next week. Maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed, Matt Amory will be back with us.
Yes.
Until then, Michael, take us home, baby.
Yes, can't wait to get Matt back in here with us. Thank you guys so much again for joining us today on the Extra Medium Sports Podcast, which is brought to you by the Hotel Morgan. Select a wedding venue where you can host your perfect ceremony and grand reception in one of our 2 magnificent ballrooms. From the restored historic architecture to the stylish, comfortable guest rooms for your party, Hotel Morgan provides an environment where every guest feels cared for in the heart of downtown Morgantown. Now booking 2026 dates in our brand new 8th floor ballroom. Once again, thank you for joining us on the Extra Medium Sports Podcast, where the couches are always safe, but the takes are on fire.